Hello, everyone, and welcome back to a special edition of Cain and Cuddles podcast in Stardew Valley. This time, it's another mini pod with just Cain, but we got a guest here. It's our favorite goalie, Muford.
Hey everybody, how you doing?
We're just trying to get some more of that championship week TPE, so we'll be talking about the playoffs a little bit and the results and how we feel about it. So I think we can start with how you felt about how the second round went, Edmonton versus Winnipeg. I feel like most of our team felt kind of upset, especially that we went down 3-0, like just like that immediately. And some of them are kind of like, well, that's how Simon T goes. You can be the best team and get completely no chance to even get in the series. And some of them are a mix of the two. So how are you feeling? Which camp are you in there?
Uh, if honestly I have to look at it, I would probably feel like the sim kind of screwed us, but at the same time, we didn't do any favors by just getting pegged. We lost what 6-4, 2-1, then 3-1. Our offense just wasn't there when it should have been, but it happened.
Yeah, so it sounds like kind of a mix. That's where I'm at too. It's like sometimes you just have you can sim like 100 times and 99 of them you crush them. But if that one you go down 3-0 and lose, that one could happen. It's kind of unfortunate, but it's the way it goes, which isn't ideal when you build such a good team and everyone is kind of excited to go into the playoffs and you kind of smack Calgary around like you did and just really take a hold of that series. It's kind of disheartening to see. Um, you got a contract coming up. You got season 45, but then you got to renew. Will this series impact how you feel about signing another one, or does it not really matter to you that much?
Honestly, I haven't really been looking too much into it besides, the occasional harassment of Carl and Keegan in the locker room. I mean, me and you are kind of in the same boat because you're up in season 45 as well. And it's just kind of a difficult time. I am going to say I am quite happy that this is my first ever time in the playoffs in the SHL. So that might impact it, but I haven't really looked that far ahead since we still have another 2 months because we have season 45 still.
Yeah, that makes sense. I mean, it is cool that you got in the playoffs. You kind of sniffed around in season, what was it, 43 or 44 when you were a free agent and you kind of tested the waters but decided to go to Toronto and then they ended up trading you back here anyway, which is kind of funny, but that's cool to get in the playoffs for the first time with another Tuck there.
It was very nice. It was amazing to finally taste playoffs with my quote unquote in-game brother tour tuck, but it's great to have on the team, be on a team.
Yeah, he's a fun guy, and actually, you got peppered in the first round. You got shelled like they would outshoot us by a ton, but you would kind of keep us in the game, which was nice to see how you simmed in the first round and kind of be proud of that.
I was hoping to bring that same magic to the second round, but clearly it just doesn't work that way.
And they must have had their line set up just better for scoring and like more high danger chances than Calgary. Must have been like some kind of outside shots, and we were playing good D to not really test you too much. But unfortunately, that's how it went. And then Winnipeg actually goes on to beat West Kendall in the finals. Um, there you could either be kind of upset that they beat us and you didn't want them to win, so you'd rather have West Kendall win, or you could be, kind of look at it that you got beat by the team that won it all, so maybe you could have even been the second best team. Who would know? So, How do you feel about that one?
That's kind of how I look at it. Like you said, yes, we lost to, but if they go on and win it all, I mean, what's that? That means that we were second best team, only losing to the eventual champions, and it just means that it's going to give all of us hopefully more drive and more want to continue to update and hopefully push through in the following season, season 45, our contract years, if you will.
Yeah, well, I don't think that'll affect the sim, but it would be cool if it did, if you played that much better, because you're going to have to sign a contract. But it's probably not that complex in the sim that you would want to do that. But do you think we'll be in the same spot next year, kind of winning the presidents, going into round one, feeling good, and then see what happens there? Or do you think with there's not too much overturn in the roster, but we do have some new guys coming in who might not have the poise to get us where we were this year. What do you think?
I honestly think with how Keegan and Carl are setting this up, and this being Carl's Scholes' last year, I feel like this is the year that we have to go and push it all. And even with some younger guys coming up, we have some trade pieces that might be traded. Who knows? I do still think that we could be and will be the best team, at least in the regular season.
Yeah, I was just looking at the drafts, and I feel like a lot of teams actually got set up pretty nicely from these last few drafts. They got at least one good player usually, which is really cool because I feel like Edmonton, especially out of the season 43 draft, they got a ton of good players. They even moved Moyer because they just didn't have room for him. We got Tony Pepperoni, Taylor coming up next year, so even though they're not at that TPE level now, I think they will be very soon, and they'll be important parts of this team, which is fun to see because,
I
I mean,
agree completely. Even if
yeah.
they're only like third lines or whatever, you can just play them that much more. Against not as high TPE teams, and they could actually be a surprise. You never really know how finicky the sim engine.
Yeah, and I feel like there's a huge difference between an older regressing player who is on the third line and they have like, what, 900, 800 TPE, and then at the end of the season they get a chunk taken out of that versus someone who has maybe 600, 700 TP, but they're growing the whole time during the season and just increasing their scoring, their defense a little bit at a time. I think by the end of the season we'll be better off than we were at the beginning, and I think that'll give us a huge bump in next season's playoffs.
I agree completely. I would rather have a 600, 700 TPE active than a 1100 TPE inactive because you get what, like between 150, 200 TPE a season. So 2 seasons time, if they're regressing, you're going to pass them. So
Yeah, and I think we're seeing a lot of that on the Blizzard where we have Tidor's Cookers and Nicholas Scholes. They're losing those big chunks of TPE. They're still pretty high up though. They're like over 1,000, but we got some guys coming in who are ready with 700-ish TPE. So it'll be like just a little worse to start off when they retire, but then we'll be right back at it, and hopefully they'll get even higher than Nick and Obese could in their careers.
I hope so, and I do believe that this team is set for a long time. Even though me and you are about to be free agents and go create our own goalie.
Goalie team. We'll recruit Bojo too.
I'm fine with it.
So final thing, we get back to the playoffs next year and we make it past 2 rounds. Who do you want to see in the finals?
Oh, that's a difficult one. I would like to see. Well, just looking at the playoffs this year, I would like to see Toronto.
Yeah,
Us
that's
against
what I was
Toronto,
thinking.
just because I was in Toronto. A lot of good guys over there. A lot of good guys here in Edmonton. I think it'd be pretty dope to see those two teams in the finals next.
It would probably turn into Tuck versus McFadden, and who can win that duel.
I think that'd be pretty swell.
Well, thanks for tuning in and listening. And if you watched, I'm just going in circles in my house in Stardew Valley, so that was probably entertaining as shit. But it's been fun talking to you, Muford, and good luck with your career and signing contracts or whatever's going on next season. And go get that 4 Teps. See ya.
Yay, Teps.